Women are biologically bestowed in a special way. I believe that the world today is an ideal leveler for women. That's because the past was a much rougher place, one where things could be sorted out according to strength or social standing, where the lines between right and wrong were clearly drawn, and where men could duel for their honor, fight to the death, or lose their stand. Diplomacy and the world of words are more nuanced than most people realize. They rely heavily on nonverbal cues and subtle body language, and they are fundamentally psychological. Women have an evolutionary advantage in this realm, and as a result, they are exceptionally skilled in it. We men are powerful and able to use brute force in almost any situation, but this isn't always the best approach. Because authority is not universally acknowledged, the wealthy and the noble have always enjoyed plotting and planning. You can enjoy this pastime if you are well off and have plenty of time on your hands. If you don't anticipate any imminent danger of a conflict or physical confrontation. You realize what I'm saying. The world has become a lot more like that. Major decisions are made not through conflict or war, but rather over a table through power talk. It's like a game of chess, but with words, and over time, even men became masters of the game. We honed our skills as orators and roused the male species to action, but we also learned to think strategically and solve problems. Since women have been plotting and playing mind games for centuries, it's no surprise that their emotional game is far ahead of men's. There's evidence to suggest that women did the same thing in hunter-gatherer societies. This is why they are never the villains in fiction and why they are so elusive in the modern world. People are more sympathetic if the victim is female, and this is true even though research shows that juries are less likely to sentence a female prisoner. Women typically have more leniency from superiors and are given more room to make mistakes than men. It takes a mountain of evidence to disprove the widespread belief that women are invariably the victim of harassment and other misdemeanors. Most people's primal instincts tell them that a woman is not the aggressor, and this is for one simple reason. Women are pros at manipulating the story and playing the victim. They are experts at it after years of experience. In any given situation, a woman can spin the truth and add enough emotion to make her audience believe she is the victim. Women never play the villain or are the ones to blame. The rules are different for her. It doesn't matter if she's responsible for someone getting fired or locked up, if she's responsible for someone getting slapped in public, or if she's responsible for someone getting inappropriately touched. Just because she's a woman, people feel obligated to bend the rules for her. What is the most extreme example I can give? I hope you are familiar with Will Smith. After all, everyone saw how badly he was hurt when his cheating wife was finally caught on. She wore it for a considerable amount of time, and then she had the nerve to discuss it in front of a large audience. She expresses her desire to aid him repeatedly throughout the interview. She uses a bunch of fancy words in an attempt to take control of the story, and now everyone seems to have forgotten about her infidelity with Will Smith's wife Yada. No man would have survived that conversation intact. You know how women completely lose it when they find out you cheated on them. They can't stand the thought. They don't care about loyalty anymore, and all they can think about is how much it hurts their pride. So yeah, if Will Smith were the one who had cheated, pop media would be all over him like a rash. But since that didn't happen, people just forgot about it. They ignore the entire thing as if it never happened, as if Yada didn't sit there and try to wrap her infidelity in those sweet words and excuses, and as if she hadn't twisted the narrative so well that people forgot about Yada altogether and made a laughingstock out of Will. Will Smith's wife Yada cheated on him and manipulated the world to the point where he is now a meme. You'll see this image online without giving it much thought. However, upon further reflection, it becomes clear that this is no laughing matter at all. Rather, it concerns a man who is utterly heartbroken because his wife has been unfaithful to him and who is now regarded as a laughingstock by the entire world. Let me know how Yada's status changed after that. She seems to be fine. I can't tell if anything happened to keep her from getting up. That's the thing, brothers. No matter how bad things look, a woman is never the bad guy. She's always the victim, so naturally, nobody remembers her. They have a natural talent for that, and all it takes is a few tears and some sob stories to turn her into that and make everyone forget what a worthless piece of garbage she is. Even though it took Johnny Depp years to recover his reputation after the scandal involving Amber Heard, I swear I still see people saying they were both wrong, despite all the evidence to the contrary. Ask anyone whom they think cheats the most and they'll say men, but the reality is that it's women who are routinely overlooked despite their many flaws and infidelity. Who do you think holds the most prestigious positions in society? Women. Women may seem to be the ones who bear the brunt of the world's ills, but don't forget that there are plenty of men who are just as miserable working dead-end jobs in a barren land. Women's rights are still a major issue even though women make up the more advantaged gender in terms of wealth, education, and access to safe housing. You know I'm right when even the legal laws are so openly biased when it comes to men. Anyone with a basic sense of logic and fairness can see that it's wrong, and it's wrong for women to just jump ship and take off a big chunk of the cake with them. All you have to do is scroll social media for 5 minutes and women will seem like the most suffering gender in the entire world. It's wrong for women to get custody and child support payments they did in turn, but no one seems to care about this injustice, either now or when these laws are passed or put into effect, ruining the lives of some poor dudes in the process. They simply applaud the woman, telling her "you go, girl," and praising her bravery. Better times existed in the past when life wasn't so dominated by the mind. Forget about norms and customs. Today, everything is governed by the Constitution, which women exploit to exert as much control over men as they can. Women will ruin their marriages, ruin their relationships with men, and ruin their lives in general because there are no laws in the United States prohibiting them from cheating, lying, or being dishonest. And yet, they'll always be the good guys in the end, the ones who didn't deserve what happened to them but were nonetheless harmed because they were innocent bystanders. In a world where your base feeling as a man is that you are a bad guy, where do you even start your side of the story? If 1,000 women's rights activists are shouting at you and calling you a misogynist, you know it's an absolute joke. I would call it dystopian if it didn't feel so dramatic. Our current era is a wild one indeed. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.